So we all know Caitlin Clark has been chilling, getting ready for this golf tournament, minding her own business.
Sue Bird just dropped a bombshell about Caitlin Clark, and WNBA fans are losing their minds. You won't believe what the Seattle Storm legend said about the rising Iowa star. Is this the start of a legendary feud? Or is there more to the story? Get ready for a wild ride as we break down Sue's shocking comments and why they're causing such an uproar.
The Breanna Stewart thing for a second, because to your point, I'm really just doubling down on it. The lack of beat writers, the lack of coverage in our world, in the world of women's basketball, 4 national championships.
We'll dive into the stats, the achievements, and the burning question. Is Caitlin Clark really living up to the hype, or is Sue Bird onto something? You know what's crazy? Sue Bird, the Seattle Storm legend, just dropped a bomb about Caitlin Clark that's got everyone talking. Sue's always been about lifting up the next generation of ballers, right? But her latest comments? Total 180. It's like she woke up and decided to spice things up in the WNBA world.
That's not the case for men's basketball, really for any other
anything.
So like that is the bar. So in another world, it's like, oh, if you get to the Final Four championship game twice, that's an amazing, by the way, it is an amazing feat. It's not to take away from what Caitlin.
Let's break down what Sue actually said about Caitlin. She wasn't holding back, that's for sure. Sue went straight for the jugular, talking about how championships are the real measure of greatness in women's basketball. She straight up said, "The lack of national championships is the standard. That is the bar." Ouch, that's got a sting for Clark, who's been tearing it up on the court, but hasn't snagged that elusive national title. Now, let's talk numbers for a sec. Sue's college stats were impressive, no doubt. But Caitlin Clark, she's been shattering records left and right. We're talking about the all-time leading scorer in NCAA Division I basketball history. That's men's and women's, folks. Clark's putting up numbers that make your head spin. But Sue's not just talking stats. She's bringing up championships, and that's where things get spicy. Sue led UConn to 2 national championships during her college days. She's got the hardware to back up her talk. But here's the thing. Is that the whole story? Are championships really the be-all and end-all of greatness in women's basketball? This debate is lighting up the WNBA community.
Just not as amazing as
4
Stewie.
national championships in a row. But if we had people talking about that, right, in this nuanced way, then the conversation.
Some fans are saying Sue's just jealous of the new kid on the block. Others are nodding along, saying championships matter more than individual stats. It's like the whole league is split down the middle and everyone's got an opinion. But Sue's take isn't just about numbers or trophies. It's about legacy. She's talking about what it means to be truly great in this game. Is it about breaking records and making SportsCenter every night? Or is it about leading your team to the promised land and cutting down those nets? You know what's wild? This isn't just about Sue and Caitlin. It's sparked a whole conversation about how we define greatness in women's basketball. Are we looking at it the same way as the men's game? Should we be? These are the questions that are keeping WNBA Twitter up at night. All right, let's talk about Caitlin Clark. Is she really as good as everyone says? Or is it all just hype? Some people are saying she's overrated, but can you believe that when you look at her stats? Let's break it down and see what's really going on with this rising star. Clark's been shattering records left and right, and it's not even close. We're talking about a player who's scored over 1,000 points in a single season. That's not just good, that's insane. She's not just leading her team, she's rewriting the record books. And it's not just about scoring. Clark's got the whole package: assists, rebounds, you name it. But here's where it gets interesting. Some critics are saying, sure, she's got the stats, but where's the championship? It's true, Iowa hasn't won the big one yet. But does that really matter when you're talking about individual talent? I mean, think about it. Clark led Iowa to beat South Carolina, the only team to do that in the last 2 seasons. That's like David taking down Goliath. Let's compare Clark to other college stars. It's not even a fair fight. She's not just outperforming her peers. She's in a league of her own. We're seeing scoring numbers that make you do a double take. And it's not just empty stats. Clark's making her entire team better, turning Iowa into a national contender. But here's the thing. Clark's impact goes way beyond the court. She's not just changing the game. She's changing how people see women's basketball. More eyes on the sport, more fans in the seats, more little girls picking up a basketball and dreaming big. That's the kind of impact that lasts long after the final buzzer. Imagine this. WNBA Twitter is on fire right now, and it's all because of Sue Bird's comments about Caitlin Clark. Fans are taking sides, and it's turning into an all-out war between Team Sue and Team Caitlin. The debate is so intense you'd think they were arguing about pineapple on pizza. Some fans are calling Sue jealous, saying she can't handle the fact that there's a new star in town. Others are backing her up, arguing that championships matter more than individual stats. It's like watching a basketball game, but instead of players on the court, it's fans going at it in the comments section. Check out these wild tweets. One fan wrote, "How many national championships does UConn win without their best player? Ouch. They're really questioning Sue's legacy here." Another tweet fired back, "Caitlin put that work in at Iowa. Nobody was tripping off the Iowa Hawkeyes before Caitlin Clark got there." It's clear that Clark's impact on her college program isn't lost on her supporters. But it's not just fans getting in on the action. Other players and commentators are jumping into the fray too. Jamal Hill, for example, backed up Sue's take on championships. He said her opinion isn't even controversial. It's just part of the age-old debate in sports about what defines greatness. This whole situation is splitting the WNBA community right down the middle. It's like a family reunion where half the family is Team Sue and the other half is Team Caitlin, and nobody's backing down. You've got people digging up old stats, bringing up past games, and even questioning the entire structure of college basketball. The real issue here? It's bigger than Sue or Caitlin. This debate is forcing fans to think about how we measure success in women's basketball. Is it all about the rings, or do individual achievements matter just as much? It's like comparing apples and oranges, except the apples have championships and the oranges have record-breaking stats. Hold up, basketball fans. We've been so caught up in the Sue Bird versus Caitlin Clark drama that we're missing the bigger picture. This isn't just about two players. It's about how we define greatness in women's basketball. And let me tell you, it's not as simple as you might think. Let's talk about the GOAT debate in the WNBA. It's not just Sue and Caitlin in the running. We've got legends like Diana Taurasi, the scoring machine with 3 championships under her belt. Then there's Tamika Catchings, a defensive powerhouse who changed the game. And don't forget about Lisa Leslie, who was dunking before it was cool. The list is stacked, and each player brings something unique to the table. But here's where it gets tricky. How do we measure greatness in women's basketball? Is it all about the rings? Sue Bird's got 4 championships, which is insane. But then you've got players like Caitlin Clark, breaking scoring records left and right. And what about impact off the court? Some players have changed the way we see the game entirely. You know what's crazy? The men's game does this debate totally differently. In the NBA, it's all about the championships. You hear it all the time with LeBron and Jordan. 6 rings. But LeBron's been to the finals how many times? It's like they're playing ring toss instead of basketball sometimes. But should we be using the same metrics for the women's game? The WNBA is younger, the landscape is different, and the challenges these players face aren't the same. Maybe we need a whole new way of looking at greatness in women's basketball. Here's the thing, there's no easy answer. And you know what? That's what makes this debate so much fun. It's not just about stats or trophies. It's about the stories, the moments that take your breath away, and the players who make you fall in love with the game all over again.